All right, so we have our two value scales, and I'm going to talk to you about other ways that we can add value besides shading in and blending or not blending. That's up to you. We have several different ways to add value beyond that. We have hatching, and right now I'm just using an HB pencil. Again, you can, the darker the pencil you want, you can use a B pencil if you want a lighter, finer line. You can use an H pencil. So I'm just working with an HB pencil right now. If we were to make lines in a direction like this is called hatching. So if you are filling in an object, say like a sphere, we could make this sphere appear to be round by hatching. And I'm following the curve of the sphere. The hatching lines don't have to be perfectly straight diagonal lines. They can be curved. If your object is round, you would want them to be curved because that helps give the illusion that this object is a round object. And these lines are just going in one direction. That's called hatching. We have cross hatching. And that's when you cross the lines. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I'm going to draw a slightly larger sphere, just kind of show. I would start with kind of hatching the lines on here. The closer together your lines are, the darker your values are going to appear. So to kind of create a little bit of darker values down here at the bottom, I would come in a different direction. And just with these being diagonal, hatching on a sphere is slightly more difficult. Right here, I'm just going to leave that that's going to stay hatched, and the cross hatching is going to happen down here. And if you watch, I'm just going in different directions. We also have Scumbling, and I'm going to switch pencils because that pencil is getting a little bit dull. So this is an F pencil. F stands for fine, and it's not really an H pencil or B pencil. It's kind of similar to an HB pencil. So we have Scumbling. And Scumbling is just making a series of C's. They could be forward or backwards. The more you overlap them, the closer together you make them, the darker your value will appear. So on a little sphere, if we were trying to make this sphere, if my highlight was right here, I would fill it in, and I would start to overlap down here at the bottom. And you can vary how hard you press. You can vary how dense you fill it in. You can vary the pencil that you use. It's important with a sphere, though, to continue to follow that curve. You want to follow the curve of the shape so that you make it look three-dimensional. And the last one we have is stippling. And stippling is a series of dots. Now I'm using a 8B pencil for this, just so that you can see the dots better. You can absolutely do this with, say, like an H pencil. You're going to get much finer dots. Just on camera, they're a little bit harder to see. So I'm going to draw my circle. And I'm going to start to add my dots. And the further apart your dots are, the lighter the surface is going to appear. And then as you want this to get darker, this is a little bit more time consuming. As you want it to get darker, you would get your dots closer together, you would overlap them, you might press harder, you might use an an 8B pencil here, and maybe lighten your pencil up as you get closer. A lot of people do stippling with pens, microns or Sharpies, or even just gel pens will work for that. Stippling is the technique used in a pointillism painting, and I know this isn't painting, but you guys have probably all heard pointillism at some point, and stippling is that. So I could keep going. Again, it's a little bit more time consuming. So I just want you to see the more overlap, the closer together, the more dense. That's where your darker values come from. All right, so we have, again, to recap, we have hatching. Those are lines that are just going in one direction. We have cross hatching. That's when our lines cross each other and create intersections. We have scumbling. That's a bunch of little C's. And then we have stippling, which is a bunch of dots.